Good Monday morning, guys, and welcome to the 200th episode of Born Again to Make Your Ears Bleed.
Oh, shut up, Eric. Woohoo! 200 episodes. That is amazing.
It really is. I joke. We enjoy every minute of it, and let's just start with we wouldn't have 200 episodes if we didn't have somebody to listen to us. I mean, we probably would still be doing it. It would be a little harder knowing nobody listens.
I mean, but we didn't do it for anyone other than God calling you to do it. So maybe we would. Maybe the whole podcast is just for us to draw closer to Him.
Now, maybe, but
Who knows?
I mean, it's working.
It really is working, but no, I so appreciate the listeners, and especially those ones that are just faithful listeners that we hear from, and we're just so grateful. And you guys know who you are out there, so we are so grateful for your encouragement and that you listen.
Yep. When you get that text message early in the morning that says, "You're killing me, Smalls," you know who you are, and I know what you mean.
That's right.
But yes, I want to thank you first that you listen, you take the time out of your life to hear what we have to say about a God who is capable of doing anything and everything to reach somebody. And the fact that He would choose to use us and our broken voices and broken lives to reach somebody is very humbling.
Yeah, and that is what God does. He doesn't just use you and me, Eric. He'll use anybody that just has a heart for Him and for His children. And so I hope that this is an encouragement to everybody out there. Whatever it is you're doing, whether it's in your occupation, in your household, in your neighborhood, like with friends that you have across the world, like whatever it is, like we all have that chance to be the light. That's what God has called us to do, to be the light and point people to Jesus. So this is one of the ways, Eric, that we have found in doing it. But, you know, the born again life really is about spreading the good news.
That's right. I love the good news.
Me too. We need more good news in this world.
That's why I don't listen to actual news, because I only like the good news. And there is no good news on the news.
There sure isn't. All right, so it's a big party here at Big Blue. We've got confetti cannons. We got a band, an ice sculpture, balloons. Can you see it, Eric?
I'm seeing it everywhere. Yes, confetti and glitter. Glitter is the enemy of anybody. So.
It really is. But no, it's actually a kind of a chilly, windy day here at Big Blue, and it is still just us, but we are having a mental party going on, celebrating the big 200. And it's funny, Eric, we haven't really celebrated a big milestone for a while.
No.
Let's do some Born Again trivia. Do you remember the first episode that we really celebrated? I'm going to take that as a no.
40.
Yeah, you're right. It was 40.
I have to think. I had to give me time to think here later.
It was the big 40, yes, because it's such a significant number.
It is. It's a giant number in the Bible, so we decided we were going to celebrate with 40.
That's right. All right, then what was our next big number?
99.
No. We celebrated another one with what could possibly be a slight copyright infringement.
Oh, okay.
Remember that one?
I don't.
I believe it's Sammy Hagar singing about 55.
Oh, 55. Sorry. Yeah, Shanda sent me a warning on that one.
I think it's good. That song is easily more than 25 years old, so we're good. Or maybe we're not good, but hey, if Sammy Hagar's listening,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Maybe we can change his life.
But yes, then the next big number was not the 100, but the 99.
Yeah, I think it's funny that we celebrated 99 way harder than we celebrated 100.
Mm-hmm.
We are all lost.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we need God to come search for us, not just be happy about that we're one of the 100.
That's right. And now here we are in 200. And Eric, I've been trying to find a biblical reference for 200. I mean, there's some, but there's none that really, I feel like, that really speak to.
I've got 300 cover when we get
there. You know,
We'll talk about Gideon again.
I mean, we could go to the book of Ezra and talk about how 200 rams were sacrificed, but I don't know. Something just tells me that's not the vibe we're going for here. This is a party, so we're gonna just be joyful in what we're doing today.
All right, so you talked about it being a chilly day here at Big Blue. It reminds me of our first recording session and the whimsical names that we came up with. When Amy and I started talking about this podcast and like what God called us to do, we could have called the titles, episode 25, talking about Ezra,
Yeah.
anything like that. We could have been bland, boring, but I always remember that Amy said she loved the idea of one of the episodes being called Buying Groceries in the Store or something weird.
Mm-hmm.
And from that day, first day of like naming the first episode of Talking in a Chilly Room or Talking in a Cold
room, yeah.
Talking in a Cold Room, like we set the precedent that we will call it whatever and it doesn't matter
Yeah.
what the title is if the input in the podcast is actually different than the name most times. But that's half my fun is just what whimsical name can we come up with. And so we were actually game planning and I came up with today's name and I think it works.
Yeah.
So anytime I think about looking back, which is what we are doing today,
Mm-hmm.
I think about Lot's wife. So today will be look back and be turned to a pillar of salt.
That really is being the salt, but not the light, Eric. Oh my gosh.
But no, I love part of that is just being that we get to have fun.
Yeah.
God doesn't say you have to be serious and you have to do this and you have to. He allows us free will to name the episodes,
Yeah.
talk about His glory.
Yeah. And I think, our goal the whole time has always just been to be this approachable voice. So whether you believe in God, whether you're seeking or searching or struggling or whatever, we want you to be able to just listen in and hear two people that like, we get you, we understand you, we've been there. Like, we're not just going to cast people aside or make them feel less than because of what they've been through or where they are in their faith walk. That's the last thing that I want to do because I know I've been there myself. And so we just want to be a comfortable presence in people's lives. And so hopefully we do that for our listeners, Eric.
I hope so. And I pray that the listeners feel like we've helped them.
Yeah.
If nothing else, it's just to get them maybe on the right track that someone else can help them.
Mm-hmm.
But that we raise awareness that they need to change something or are needing to draw closer or any of those things.
Yeah.
I pray that somebody somewhere has been moved by what we've said. I know there's been people who've reached out to us with, wow, I really like that, or that's a great thought, and that we've copied DJ's sermons week for week for a little while,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. I just love that God moves in mighty ways, even with small people or bad voices and all these things.
Absolutely. All right. Speaking of titles, Eric, you got some favorite episode titles?
Oh, man. I really liked the first one. I thought that was really, that was kind of indicative of who we were because we literally were talking that first time we recorded. We've recorded, I don't know, 3 or 4 episodes that first time.
Probably.
But we shivered the entire time we were here. We were in heavy coats and we were shivering the entire time. And we learned a lot that day. We learned a lot in the preceding time. But, I don't know. I mean, there's been some really fun ones that have been titles. What's your favorites?
I mean, I definitely love Peter the Trihard. Like, there's because, I will wake up in the morning hours after Eric has gotten up and, I pull up the podcast and usually what I do is I like to remember to download it while I'm on my Wi-Fi and then I listen to it on my drive. And that's one of the first things I do is I pull it up to see because you guys, Eric he rarely tells me what he's going to title these things. He might write them down right in front of me, but I don't know what they are until I wake up. So yeah, the Peter the Trihard, that one definitely gave me a chuckle. And then I feel like there was one I texted you about not too long ago that I was just like, man, Eric, that one just made me laugh.
I liked Let Him Cook.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. My son gave me some grief over that one. But yeah, there's some times we're naming them. Most of the fun I get when we record, like after we record, like the conversation's good. But when you go in and you start listening and editing and then you get to I get done editing and then I get to put a name to it.
Yeah.
And there's been times, and I've got a notebook that's got every episode wrote down with scriptural references and all that stuff and the titles. And I'll be sitting in my computer and I'll scribble or scratch out like 4 or 5 different times while I'm listening to this episode and going, no, that's not the title. That's not the title. And then it'll hit me and I'm like, oh, there it is. So, yeah. I don't know. It's just been one of those. It's fun adventure for me is naming stuff.
Yeah, no, it is definitely the thing I love, just tuning into to see what you've come up with. Yeah, so appreciate all the goofy titles. Yeah, love them. All right, well, so let's go to
you know how many titles are in here probably that are references to Forrest Gump though?
Probably quite a few.
Quite a few.
Yeah. I love the Times of Eric's a Bad Guy. I think that was one of your titles, wasn't it?
Probably.
Which did make me laugh because I think we talked about it in that episode. But yeah.
I like the other one. It was the Sing Until the Sun Comes Back. And it's the S-O-N, not S-U-N.
Yes.
Some of those whimsical little
very clever. And of course the food coma discipleship. Because yeah, we can relate to that one pretty much every time we do recording day. We get our lunch break and then we never quite recover after lunch.
Yeah.
But okay, so let's talk about some of your favorite episodes, Eric, like the ones that really stand out.
I love all the Blues Days. I'm going to take them all at once instead of just one at a time. Like all the Blues Days stand out as maybe because there's less of us and more of them.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's just the fact that the more people that tell their story, the more impact we can have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was kind of like I was telling that one young lady that was here for a court team meeting. And it just, really just hit me hard. I'm looking at our group of Big Blue volunteers and we're all laughing and we're loving on each other and we're being encouraging. And it's a picture of what the body of Christ is supposed to be and how we're supposed to interact and function. And, we're working side by side, but we're joyful in doing it. And then in that moment, I was reminded, because I think April's episode had just aired, and I was just reminded of how every single one of us, Chris and Shanda and April, and we'd all, come from these pasts that were just so dark and broken. And you can't hardly believe the beautiful butterflies sitting in the room now doing God's work, just how God can just do amazing things with people. And so I remember mentioning that to this young lady. I'm like, you need to go back because what you're seeing right now, you're going to assume, oh, these are just those perfect, happy, churchy people, completely ignorant to everything bad in the world. No. We have been through it. That's why we're so joyful, because we know where our joy truly comes from. So
one of the things when I started this podcast, I love the idea of interviewing people and getting their story, and it came from the Ryan Stevenson podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a podcast where he'd have all these musical artists on, and he would ask them their testimony, basically. And the one that stuck out, though, was not his. It was, he had, Bart Millard is who it is, was talking, and he said, why are you asking me about the testimony when you are the one with this amazing testimony?
Yeah.
So, like, one week he interviewed Bart Millard, and the next week on the podcast, it was the Ryan Stevenson interview by Bart Millard, and it was just so awesome. But he was right. Like, why am I taking it? My story's amazing, but I need to hear yours too. And so it was one of those moments where I'm thinking, if I've got a podcast, I don't want people to just hear about me.
Right.
I want people to hear about everybody else.
For sure. Like they need to truly understand like why God changed these people's lives. Like what was their pre-born again life like? And oh my gosh, Eric, we've had so many tears at those interviews with our Blues Day Tuesday crowd. And they've just been amazing. I don't know about you, Eric, but I feel like I know my core team better because of them.
Yeah.
They really cut deep what they'd been through. So, those, and I gotta say, I love having Seth Addison on our Blues Day Tuesday. Yeah. He's not at all involved with Big Blue, but it was just so special to have him come here, play some pool with Kipton, see what we're all about, and hearing his story was really fascinating. Yeah.
One of my other ones, the other ones that I really liked was actually episode 1 through 10.
Okay.
And the reason I actually like them is we didn't know what we were doing.
No, we sure didn't.
We didn't know how to do it. We didn't know what we were doing. We just knew that we had a call and that we were supposed to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the rawness, the realness, and the unexpected realities, I guess, of hosting a podcast came out in those episodes. Like we talked about some deep topics in episode 1 through 10.
We did. And I think you're right, Eric. Those are those episodes that I would, when I tell people like, oh, well, this is the podcast. And I always say like, we kind of hit our stride by, I say episode 9 for some reason, because those first ones, they were a little rough from trying to speak and the production and all that kind of stuff. And we learned things about our intros and our outros and timing and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, the first ones are a little bit rough, but we hit our stride by 9. But the cool thing about those is I remember listening to them and being like, I can't believe I said, like, some of the stuff that I said, I'm like, that's really deep, or that, like, who knew? Like, who knew I even had it in me to recall some of these Bible verses and stuff. So I think episodes 1 through 10 were met with complete surprise.
Yeah. Really. The last 2 on my list of like favorite episodes, I love the bucket list lifestyle.
Yes.
And then the buffet lifestyle. It's just the reason I like them is that it almost like it cuts straight to the core of who I was or am or was or whatever you want to call it at that moment. Like, this is what I was going through.
Yeah.
And I let an entire world, if they want to hear it, into that reality of who I am at that moment. And we talked about the buffet lifestyle. Like, that was a moment when Amy and I were both kind of like, we have too much going on. What are we going to do? And let's throw another one on the buffet lifestyle.
Yeah.
So that's where it came from. It was real and raw. And it was really to the point of like, I know there's somebody else who's dealing with this. So let's talk through it. Not just give advice to a subject I've never been a part of. It was real advice to myself coming from wherever, but I knew that's what it was.
Well, and I remember too at the time, like, we didn't know how things were going to go. Like, can we really do 5 episodes a week? Like, are we really going to be able to carve out enough time to record? And we take entire days and still only get 5 or 6 episodes done. And yet God, this is how you know God's hand is that He provided His provision. He's like, I'm going to give Amy the time. I'm going to give Eric the time. Aside from your recent illness, like, we have been able to meet regularly and much like I think you just stacked this stone, Eric, on Friday about how when you don't come to Big Blue, there's this void. Yeah. In the beginning, the podcasting, it felt like this big undertaking that we didn't have time for, and like, how are we going to do this? But now it has, as God often does, like, it's turned into that joy. It's turned into that thing that I can't wait. I mean, I go to bed on Sunday night, and there's a real psychological term, like people that start getting depressed around 7 o'clock on Sundays, right? Because they know work's coming Monday morning and they're going to, they got a whole week ahead of them. It's just this work and this toil. But I got to tell you, Eric, if it's a Sunday night and we're podcasting the next day, I'm like a kid on Christmas. I cannot wait to podcast. And so God took something that He's like, I know this is a lot to, for you, Amy, but He's made it happen for me. And I am so grateful for that.
Yeah, me too. I'm with you on that. I've thought a couple times about, has it run its course? Have we talked about enough? Are we done with this? And every time I'm met with a resounding, there's no way you're done yet.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is God will make it clear when that season's over.
Yeah.
And every time I think, all right, that's it. I get a list of like, you got to talk about this in front of everybody. So
yeah, definitely. I know the Bible is just, it's never changing, but at the same time, like, our lives are always changing. So it's just cool to take whatever place we are in that season and that week and that month, put it up against the Word of God. And we've got completely new experiences and stories to talk about and applications. And yeah, I mean, it's just a topic that, God's Word is eternal. So we can talk about it forever. But yeah.
What are some of your... All right, Amy. So those are a few of my favorites. What do you got on your favorites list?
Well, I definitely have the buffet lifestyle and the bucket list. So if we were playing a game of categories, we'd both have to cross that off, right? So, but I really love the Armor of God series that we did. I feel like that was one of the first times that we really dug deep into scripture, like kind of looking at every word, every phrase, and trying to figure out what does God have for us in this context. And it's one that I've taught so many times, but I kept getting new things from that series. So that was definitely one of my favorites. There was an episode where all we did was talk about Big Blue and what we do there, and some of our favorite. I think it was on a Friday. It was just like keep it light Friday. Let's talk about what Big Blue's all about. I loved that one. Oddly enough, I like the Pi Day one. I don't know why. It was such a goofy episode, but that one I love that one. I certainly love the Even If Faith. That one really stands out to me. As well. And then, we just did some really good series, Eric. We did the Lent series kind of way in the beginning. And again, like as Christians, we've lived through several Lent series, but like that was a game changer for me. We gave up something, or we took the Lenten fasting seriously. And that was where I started getting up early and getting into my prayer journal. And I just look back at that. That was such a great time. So love the Lent series. I love the Prodigal Son series as well, because that is one of my favorite stories. I do feel like that embodies what Big Blue is all about. Is we don't discount anybody. Like if they come back, like they are met with open arms and the love of God, and just how we went through all those different parts. It wasn't just about the son. It was about the household. It was about the brother, and so. And more recently, Eric, like I think those 2 days that we spent talking about porn, not what you would think we'd talk about, but so necessary. And we got a lot of feedback about that. And so it is, it's cool scrolling through my Spotify. It takes a long time to get from 1 to 199. Like it is amazing how many episodes we've talked about. And
I liked our Valentine's episode where we talked about why stacking stones is stacking stones.
Yes.
Which is not normally a Valentine's topic, but we decided that day we were going to talk about that, because we talk about the love of God every day.
We do.
So why not talk about stacking stones? And ironically, the funny part of that is when you tell people we talked about stacking stones, there's an episode called Stack Some Stones that's not about stacking stones.
It's not.
So if you want to learn about stacking stones, you got to go to Valentine's Day. And it's really funny, I think, in that way that we are whimsical, I guess.
Yeah, well, and I love the, I can't remember what the episode is called, but the day that we talked so much about hike night, and then we finally had Max on the program and how he talks about how, we're talking about it like it was the worst day ever. And to Max, it was his favorite Big Blue memory, or one of them. And so... stuff really does kind of come in a circle on this show sometimes. And of course, in the beginning, when we are talking about the church is not a building, and it's a relationship, not a religion. And then going back to your comment about the Big Blues Tuesdays, like everyone answered, in some degree, confirming the stuff that we've been teaching all this time. So like that is how it's of God. God's truths are just permeated through everything we do, through all the episodes, through all the stories, through all the scripture. It's all right there. And so every time someone opened their mouth to talk about forgiveness or truth or love, it all just echoed what we've been preaching through this microphone for weeks and weeks.
Yep. And I don't know, it's been an adventure, but I'm so looking forward to where this goes.
Yeah, me too.
Are we going to be sitting here 10 years from now still talking about Big Blue and talking about the same old thing we talk about every week? Like it's not a religion, it's a relationship? Or are our words going to be played over somebody else's Spotify for 10 years and we'd be done with this? Like God will be like, all right, you said what you need to say. I've gotten out of you everything.
Yeah.
Move to the next thing.
I mean, I love interviewing people, Eric. I would love to see this moving further into just talking to the community, talking to like everyday people, because it isn't just, the celebrities and the athletes and the political characters. Like, everybody's story matters. And really, it's the people that when we interview them, they're so much more relatable because they're people in our community and people that work in our stores and our schools and people that these kids interact with. And like, I would just love to just interview. I don't know how long it would take to interview all 8 billion people, but I'm all about it.
It's going to take a little while.
It takes a little while. Okay.
Have to learn a few languages.
Well, I'm the scholar here.
So, funny story and the news story Amy hasn't even heard.
Oh.
The other day I got a phone call from a lady, random phone call, and she said, I contacted somebody through the Big Blue site, and I got this random guy, and he gave me your number. I'm like, okay. And she goes, I was interested in how you got Seth Addison to come perform in your small town. And I'm like, well, it was really easy. He was a really good guy, and he did this. And I said, he even was nice enough, he interviewed on our podcast. And she goes, what? He did that? Did he charge you? I'm like, no, he came free will and did it, and he had loved it. And she just goes, what's your podcast? And so I told her, and I'm like, you'll have to go back and find it. I don't remember what day it was or whatever, but it was a really awesome interview. And she goes, okay, I'll listen to that. And so it was a whole conversation about how she wanted to get Seth to perform at this little church in Winchester. And at the end of it, I told her, I was like, well, if you get Seth, please tell me.
Yeah.
I want to be there to talk to that man again. And then I said something like, by the way, if you ever want to bring your youth group to Big Blue on a Saturday night, I would love just to show it off. And so she was like, I think we need to make that happen. So it was this really cool coming of a circle of like, you got Seth Addison and where?
Yeah.
And I want him. So let's have a conversation. But then it was like, but he also did this podcast that was like really down to earth guy.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of cool that I can throw out there, hey, he was on our podcast. And those are some of the things that I like is like, you'll drop that truth knowledge that you have a podcast and you're on, and the people are like, oh, you do what?
Yeah.
I give up my Mondays to podcast. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Well, like when I do think about some of the kids that I know are listening to, these are people I've known for years. I love dearly, and to know that they're listening and maybe there's a comfort in hearing my voice or your voice, Eric, but then the fact that they are listening to the truths about God and about who they are, like, I can't be calling on everybody I know and love every day and encouraging them, but to know that they're getting it, it is so awesome. I love it. But all right, I want to ask you, what exactly have you learned, Eric? I'm curious about what you've learned over these 200 episodes.
Yeah. I have learned that I wasted time in life before.
Really?
Yeah. Huh. Because I take accumulated time that I've spent on the podcast, and we go from recording to editing to all of those things that I do with this podcast. And I look back and I said, what was I doing with that time before? What was I doing for God in that moment? Nothing.
Yeah.
And so even when days that I miss posting our podcast at a certain time, like I still spend that half an hour or that 20 minutes listening and editing and writing the description of the day. And I'm like, I didn't do that before God before. And I might have wasted time in a way that was not God honoring.
Well, I would say I definitely have learned languages, since you mentioned that before. Like, I know since being on this podcast, I have learned a lot of Hebrew and Greek, and I've learned a lot more about Bible translations. More comically, we have learned to plug the mic in if we actually want to record voices.
Yeah, it's good to plug a mic in. And the software that we use to record on, it helps if you pick the right mic to record into.
Yeah.
And it helps if you turn the mic on if there's a guest here.
Green means go, Eric. Green means go.
Yeah, red does not mean record.
Oh, we had to laugh about that. We
recorded whole episodes and then like, oh, the mic wasn't on at all.
Yep, that's how you know you're a rookie. And I know for me, like, well, I think for you as well, Eric, like, sort of the time management and the outlines. Like I remember before our first recording session, like, all right, Eric, I need an outline of what we're going to talk about. And you're kind of like, I don't know, what are you talking? Like, we're doing a podcast and you're writing a book report, but I need structure. And so I love how we have learned from each other. Like I've learned the Eric way of doing things. Eric has learned the Amy way of doing things. And like we very much like Moses and Eric, Moses and Aaron, I feel like, God brought us together because we complement each other very well.
One of the first outlines Amy ever did was the armor of God outline. And I mean, it was a beautiful outline. Had everything you could ever ask for, scriptures and all of this. And Eric's like, yeah, we're not talking about that one first. We're going to talk about this one first. And she goes, oh. And it's like, why did I do all of that work to get him to just throw it into disorder? But we worked together well because we could do that. So
yeah,
I just found it funny. Like, that's not where we're starting. And she just kind of like looked at me like, disorder. Okay, whatever.
Well, I think at that point I stopped using numbers. Now they really are just check boxes.
Yeah,
so
they're just
once we talk about it, I check the box and order schmorter.
And I'm not saying that's Eric. A lot of time that's God driven. Like we'll get together and we're gonna do 10 episodes in one day, and it's like, where do we start? And I'll look over an outline, and what the first thing God illuminates, I'm like, all right, that's number one. We're gonna start there, and then the day just flows the way it's supposed to flow.
Yeah.
But we've gotten together, and what I've learned is that if we force a topic, I don't think it's very good. Like there's been a couple episodes that I call them duds. like I didn't put my whole heart in it. It wasn't all about it. It was kind of like, well, we're just doing a topic to do a topic. And so those are the days that I think I call them duds. Like, well, I think those were dud episodes. We need to make sure we listen to God.
Well, and like we had a few days where we came here, Eric, and we had 7-8 things we needed to record, and we didn't get anywhere near that. But we also knew, like, once we got derailed because of one thing or another, once we weren't feeling it, like once we kind of lost our inspiration, it was time to just pack up. Like, we're done recording today because, God gives you what he wants you to say. And when the words run dry, just best to pack up and go home. So
that's right. All right. Well, we don't want our 200th episode to be our last because it's going to go forever. So let's end it now.
All right. Well, we just end it with a big word of thanks to everyone that's listening. And we love you guys. And we just pray that through 200 episodes and hopefully, 200,000 more.
Yes. And we just pray that you continue to listen and continue to grow with us. And if you got topics you want to talk about, seriously shoot them over to us. We have a Facebook page. And we actually check it, so please send us anything and everything.
That is Born Again to Live, the podcast. That's where you can find us.
All right. Well, here's to 200 at least more.
I can't wait for 201.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.